This home was designed with the idea of creating a calm and immersive retreat, shaped by darker Japanese influences and the atmosphere of a lot of traditional Japanese spaces. The homeowners were drawn to a lot of warm wood tones and moody accents throughout the apartment, with the intention of creating a space that feels quieter and grounded to return to at the end of the day. Rather than approaching it as a very literal Japanese-themed home, the intention became more about capturing the experience and feeling of traditional ryokans and tea houses. One of the things that felt particularly inspiring was how Japanese spaces create emotion through restraint. The atmosphere is often shaped through light, shadow, texture, proportion, and the way natural materials age over time. A lot of the focus went into how the home would feel and function on a daily basis. The flow between spaces were carefully considered, while materials like limewash, microcement, smoked wood, and linen were layered through the apartment to create a softer, more tactile atmosphere. Lighting was also approached very intentionally, relying on a lot of warm ambient lighting to give the home a quieter, more restful mood throughout the day. This 133 square meter apartment is located in a fairly central area of Singapore. One of the first changes was removing the original powder room that sat almost directly in the middle of the apartment, which helped open up the communal spaces much more naturally and create a natural transition between the public and private parts of the home. The living and dining spaces were designed to feel more connected and open to one another. Rather than relying heavily on built-ins, the spaces were kept relatively restrained. Most of the focus became more on creating atmosphere through materials and the way the spaces unfold gradually from one area to another. As natural light moves in from the balcony, the textures and shadows shift across the spaces throughout the day, which changes the overall mood here over time. The homeowners were also drawn to the balcony view. There's a certain contrast between the greenery and the walk-up apartments in the foreground, with the density of the city skyline in the further background. The dining area gradually became one of the most important spaces in the home, since the owners often enjoy hosting family and friends. Inspired by traditional Japanese dining spaces, we decided to elevate the dining area slightly and added soft linen curtains to have that sense of intimacy and separation from the rest of the spaces, almost like a small tea room tucked within the home. For the kitchen, the intention was to avoid making the space feel overly sleek. A lot of the materials chosen were actually slightly imperfect, with the dark wood tones, worn metal textures, as well as the dark countertop. The overall palette actually helped ground the space while maintaining that continuity with the rest of the home. For the bedroom, the intention was for the space to feel quieter and slightly more introspective compared to the rest of the home. The palette was kept relatively simple rather than filling the room with too many elements. Since the homeowners are homebodies, they also wanted the room to feel more removed from everything else. So there's no TV in the bedroom. Comfort was also something they paid close attention to here, as they went with a wusa bed that has an adjustable base, which naturally became an important part of the room as well. The plush mattress feels soft when you first lie down, but it's still supportive enough that you don't feel you're sinking into it. This complements the bedroom's quieter atmosphere naturally. Over time, using the adjustable base became part of their main routine. Sometimes the base is adjusted slightly while reading or winding down before sleep. This creates a more gradual transition into rest. Especially with the zero gravity mode, there's a sense of weightlessness to it, almost like lying in a hammock. Visually, the bed was also customized to fit the overall color palette. The classic headboard in the charcoal finish allowed it to feel integrated into the design rather than something separate from it. Because of the tighter bathroom footprint, the his and her sinks were positioned outside instead, which actually helped the overall suite feel much more open and practical. For the bathroom itself, atmosphere was loosely inspired by Japanese onsens, with timber wrapping across the ceilings and walls. This actually created a warmer, more immersive environment. A lot of the inspiration came from how the homeowners experienced Japan during their travels, and the calmer pace of everyday life there. Those experiences were difficult to put into words, so rather than directly recreating Japanese-inspired spaces, it became more about capturing a certain feeling through the way the space is experienced over time. The hope was to simply bring a little of that feeling into everyday life in this home.